Hello and welcome to another session of Aikido Virtual Dojo. In this session we will be looking again at Jiyuwaza. Jiyuwaza, which is the free flow movement with an attacker without necessarily applying basic Aikido techniques, but rather moving around and adapting to what is happening and guiding the attacker around. And on this next level, what we want to include on top of the previous sessions are the strikes. So we'll be looking at punches, cuts from above the head, and the yokomen'uchi, which is a classic Aikido strike. And we will see how to handle it, give you some exercises, how you can practice avoiding these strikes, and then where do you want to find yourself at the end. So let's go into that session. So before we go into the Jiyuwaza itself, let's start with explanation of some basic attacks that we use in Aikido. Aikido is normally not an offensive martial art, so we are not training the attacks a lot. We are more using them to be able to practice the techniques to defend from attacks. But in terms of strikes, we have three basic attacks. So the first one would be a tsuki. A tsuki is a simple punch with a fist just in front, a straight punch. And as you might experience in some other martial arts, like in karate or kung fu, they would be turning the fist at the end to the horizontal position. In Aikido, we stay vertical with the fist, which provides a better alignment from the base, from the body, until the fist. So this is how we practice. And if we do it with a partner, in a basic version, we want to target the solar plexus of our partner. So we enter with a step, we strike, and then we release. We come back into the position. We might stay there, or we might try to come back after the strike. As we strike, we want to go through with a strike, with a punch. So we want to apply the energy trying to move our partner from here. And it's coming from the base. It's not just touching the surface. This is not enough, this will do nothing, no harm. So if you want to strike, if you want to attack, you have to go through. And this is giving the energy also. And you can do variations of the strike on different levels. So you can go to the face. You can go to the solar plexus, which is the basic. You can even go a bit lower to the belly, in case. So whichever level is appropriate at the moment, in a moment you can apply this one. Now there's one more important thing about the tsuki, it's the way you prepare your fist. So actually you want to bring your fingers in first and then close it with the thumb. And this will create a 90 degrees angle between the surface of the hand here and the bones with which you will be hitting the target. And actually you hit with these 4 points. So this is important because this gives an alignment which stabilizes the hand, the fist versus the arm, and it will prevent from breaking your wrist or fingers if you strike in a different way.
So for the next strike, we're going to be working on what's called yokomen'uchi. Yoko means to the sides, men is the head, and uchi means a strike. So yokomen'uchi, a strike to the side of the head. And to prepare this one, we're going to begin again with in hanmi, one step, one foot in front of the other one. And their hands are going to be ready. The way I usually like to practice yokomen'uchi is as we take a step, it's going to follow the center line. So it's going to raise up. And then as we come into place, it's going to strike, but strike at an angle and aiming for really more the side of the head and even more, if we want to be more precise, towards the temple of the eye. Okay, kind of cutting in a diagonal sense. It doesn't have to be necessarily just a cut. It can also be something similar to a strike from the side, maybe more of a fist strike, which we see quite often as well. So the energy is the same energy. It's coming from the same direction in that sense. So in Aikido, often we practice this particular strike with an open hand in a very basic form. When we do this with a partner, we line up, and as we step in, we want to step in just slightly to the outside here. Okay, and as we move in again, we're going to raise up, and it's going to follow that line coming straight in from the head, but to the side of my partner, and then striking at an angle. Okay, for this particular one, since the hand is open, we're going to be striking with the side of the hand here. Okay, careful about hitting your fingers. Right. So again, as I step in, it's going to raise, and as the body moves in, the strike moves in here. Okay, so it's good to keep the second hand alive. Right. So again, this could resemble maybe a punch coming in from the side as well, something coming in from the side here. Okay, a side hook or something like that.
The first strike that we can find in Aikido, in the basic Aikido forms, is the shomen'uchi. Shomen'uchi is in a way, the beginning is similar to the yokomen'uchi, so we raise our hand on the center line above our head, but then we strike straight forward to the forehead of the uke. So doing it with a partner, I will enter and I will strike to the forehead here. This could be also done without changing the feet. Sorry, stay in the same position. Without changing the feet, I could also slide in just with my front foot and do a strike. So this is a shorter version of this attack, and the full one would be taking a full step forward. Now, this might seem not very practical in terms of real fight or real attack situation. I could hardly imagine someone striking like this towards the front with a hand only. But actually the idea is to prepare for an attack with an arm. If you look at this attack, it's the same energy, it's the same way of attacking. So if someone is attacking you holding a baseball bat, a chair, a bank, a piece of wood, whatever, a stick, This attack from the top will be the same energy, so normally you would be able to do the same kind of defense techniques as you do with the hand-only shomen'uchi attack.
So let's begin with the first exercise that's going to build up to this spontaneous movement. Okay? We're going to work just with particular single strikes. And it'll be a step into this flowing direction. Okay? So what we want to do first is start with a good distance, or what we might consider in Aikido ma'ai. It's called ma'ai. Okay? So it's a distance of a good distance that's in relationship to my partner, so it has a certain timing to it. So in this particular situation with a strike, I don't want to be too close where he can instantly strike me immediately. Okay? That's not a great starting position unless we're practicing that. So otherwise, I want to start at a position where he's just out of reach. I'm just out of reach. Okay? Unless he takes a step. Okay? So that little extra step then provides an extra moment to respond. So just that particular distance is a good starting point. Okay? So from there, then we can work with certain attacks. Okay? Let's begin, like for example, just with one attack, the attack tsuki. Okay? So if my partner skis, then I don't want to stay directly on the line for now. So in this sense, what we can do is start to practice moving off the line and still being able to connect with my partner. Okay? And that's important, because if I can move off the line, I can move back and out of the way, but then I can't really respond to him and he can keep attacking. So what can be quite nice is to be able to move in such a way where I can move offline and practice moving freely, but also being able to maybe just touch or connect with my partner, and even maybe to some degree connecting into his body into a certain center line. Okay? So we can do that in many, many different ways. If he does it again, actually let's keep here. If he does it again, I can also move in many different ways to be able to respond to this. And I can just practice moving in different ways, whatever comes up. And obviously we can also move to different sides in different ways. So if we're here, I can also move to this angle. Okay? There's a lot of different options. Really, it's almost endless. Okay? And then once we get comfortable with that, then we can also try another strike. So for example, shomen'uchi, same practice. As he moves in, I can practice exploring the movement. Okay? I'm not necessarily looking for a particular movement, but just more feeling where is the possibility to move. Right? So where can I move? Okay? That makes sense, and where I can stay connected to my partner. Okay? Where I can be able to continue to move with him in relationship. Okay? Eventually then we might even move into yokomen'uchi. It's slightly bit more complicated in the sense that if he attacks from an angle and I move to that angle, I could be hit. So I want to be conscious of that. Of course I can move to that angle, but I need to be conscious of that particular angle of strike. Okay? So we could explore moving even in different ways. One other point to make is that if I move here to the inside and I can move with this particular strike, I want to be conscious of that second hand. Okay? So I want to be able to maybe move into the space, touching or connecting with that center line, so it's a little bit more difficult for him to respond or use that second hand. Okay? So I'm moving into the space a bit.
Once we are comfortable with this mahai and moving away from the line of attack and finding the right position where we want to be in order to stay connected and engaged in the situation with the attacker, we can start practicing a series of strikes. But what we propose to do in the beginning is still to stay in a kind of start-stop mode, which means that you do one attack, one reaction, you stop at this place, you check your balance, you rebalance your body, and then the uke tries to find another way of attacking, and another one, which should look more or less like this. So here we stop for a moment, we check our balance, and then Durward is trying to find another way to attack me. I move with it, so now I'm in a nice position behind, where I'm quite safe, and Durward is unbalanced. So we check our position, and Durward is trying to find another way to attack me. I avoid it. I'm again behind him in a nice position with a nice contact, and he's trying again. And we can go on like this until the partner is not able to find a way of attack. He's too much off balance. And once we're comfortable with this start-stop approach, we can start moving in a flow. As soon as Durward finishes his attack, he's taking the next one. And this starts bringing him more off balance, maybe until a fall, until a projection. So this is the way to practice, and then we can change also. So I'm attacking, next one, next one, next one. And there is a technique, almost. We are kind of entering into a Sankyo, so I have difficulties continuing the attack. And one more. So this would be the kind of slow pace practice for the uke to be able to find the next attack, to be able to continue in the attack, and for the nage to always move with the uke and find the right position at the end.
So as we get into the spontaneous flow, then we can move more freely without necessarily stopping, as we saw before, and just continue. Now the idea when we move into a more spontaneous flow is that we're not going to necessarily be looking for techniques or trying to do techniques. If there's a technique that comes up and that's appropriate, then that's fine. But we don't really have to do a technique in this particular sense. What really is happening here is that we are feeling the situation, okay? And we can focus on so many different things. We can explore so many different things with this particular type of practice, this Jiyuwaza or free flow. So we can look at particularly balance or center line or relationship. So really it's endless. So, and it might look a little bit like this. Okay, and then of course we want to give each other a turn, so we change roles. And you don't want to be surprised if a couple of grabs come in as well. Okay, that can be a part of the spontaneous nature. But now, since we're including strikes, you want to be able to be ready for those particular energetic strikes now as well.
And if I fall, I want to be able to continue with the attacks. So we never stop until we finish practicing. If you like our video, give us a thumb up and share it with your friends. You can also subscribe to receive notifications about new videos being published. More information is available in the channel description as well as through the links section.